Hello, my friends. We meet again. It's actually been a while. Where do we begin? It feels like
I
forever.
know, right? We've had a holiday.
That's right. Welcome to Midnight Hatter, the weekly variety show where we talk Gundam, Gunpla, and gaming. I'm your host, Stephen Bayless, aka Midnight Hatter, and joining me as always, the Blue Gamer, Gundam Explainer, Adam Blue. How are you, man?
Hey, doing good. Yeah, it's been a while since I've built a Gunpla, but I did. I built one. I completed one.
I was
So
gonna
it's
say
the end
you
of
just
Xerius.
dropped a video today.
Yep.
Yeah, the Xerius.
Yep.
Or is
Xerius.
the Xerius, not the Nyan, right? Because I know
Right.
we've been going back and forth about those
Right.
2 particular kits.
Nion's next because I
Nyan's
was like,
next
okay,
on the chopping block.
it's like I want to build it so bad, but I need to finish the Xerius because
Yeah,
I had already started it. So yeah, I'm glad I got that done. So yeah, video out on that, but it felt good building again. It'd been a while.
awesome. Yeah, no, man, it's, and we made it through Thanksgiving and the crazy, like, Black Friday holiday, which, I mean, to me, it didn't seem that crazy. Like, honestly, there wasn't a whole lot going on. But, this
Mhm.
weekend, I did take my family out to a little small business Saturday trip up to, the Hobbytown Gundam shop. My daughter picked out a mobile suit, and she built it herself, believe it or not. So at
That is
3
awesome.
years old, built a little Gundam. We're gonna play with it tonight. We're gonna try and upgrade it because, it's an SD kit. It's only 2 years old, like, as far as the kit goes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
the actual production of it is really cool, and there's a lot of cool features that it has on it that I think we'll be able to, um, do some fun stuff with. Actually, I think that we might have a little bit of kit bashing to do in the future.
Oh,
But we'll get to all that stuff shortly. Obviously, we've got some fun and exciting announcements to share. Like I said, if you haven't checked it out, Adam dropped a video on Xerius today. A
mhm.
video that I found a little bit, kind of hurt me a little bit from Monday that you were talking about the Rick Diaz versus the Gundam Mark II.
Yeah.
And you gave it up to the Rick Diaz, saying that that was
Yeah,
a
I
superior
mean,
mobile suit. I just
I know. I trust me, I was disappointed too because you know what? I don't even like the way the Rick Diaz looks. It looks good as the enemy mobile suit, which I guess is, there's background into that of why it looks the way it does.
correct.
Um, but I yeah, I'm that Mark II fan. I get it,
Yeah.
but I kinda like the explanation for it. In unless I'm hearing it wrong, like, it's interesting how the Titans wanted to manufacture the Mark II, but,
Mhm.
like, they were even trying to do something new, movable frame, but also keep the V-fin, make it look Gundam-y in the face, when really that was going away because you got Zeta and then Double Zeta. Those Gundam-like faces don't really return until with the new Gundam. Um,
It's very true. Yeah,
I mean, except maybe in, like, side lore, but yeah.
even going back to, like, something like the GPO2, which has kind of a more
Yeah,
aggressive looking face,
that's right. That's
and
right.
in the timeline comes before the Gundam Mark II,
Yeah,
but
but no,
yeah,
that's a good example. Yeah.
there's something to that V-fin plot armor that goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, in it's interesting because even after going through that, thinking, "Oh, Benazir has his custom Mark II. Why would he have a cu" but the Mark II must be good I mean, considering the movable frame maybe and Benazir as a pilot.
True. But I mean,
'Cause
it's interesting because, like, even throughout all of Zeta, Emma continues to use the Mark II. Throughout Double
Mhm.
Zeta,
Yeah,
L uses the Mark II. So, despite the fact that the armor itself was inferior to a lot of the contemporary mobile suits at the time, there's something special about the Mark II. Maybe it comes down to just like ease of use. It could be one of
yeah.
those things where it's like maybe it's not the highest performance mobile suit, but maybe it's easier for pilots to learn to control. You know what I mean?
Especially if they were new types.
Yeah,
Maybe there's something to that, and it could be that crew that, Emma Emma could have been a new type. I think there's a lot to say where certain people and it could be that new type is wrong to use as a label, and it's really a spectrum of human consciousness.
That's a very good point. Honestly, that's something that I think kind of gets addressed early in the series, like, well, early in, the grand scheme of the Universal Century, because in the original Gundam series, remember they're kind of talking about like, "Oh, Amuro, are you like an esper? Like, what's your deal? Why are
Oh,
you
yeah.
how can you predict the future?" And then even towards the end of the series when he's just kind of talking to Bright and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's my new type intuition says that we're gonna win." And he's like, "I don't know. I'm just trying to help them, like, inspire them to go fight the
Yeah.
Xeon." Like, so I think that I think you're right. There is like a spectrum of new type awakening, new type awareness. And what's interesting about it is unlike something like, say, the neurodivergent spectrum, you can move up and down that spectrum based on what what you do, right? So like, obviously Amuro and Shar throughout their careers, throughout their military careers, become more attuned to their new types senses. Whereas early
Mhm.
in their careers, they kind of just are feeling things out. And then I
And that
think that
reminds me.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was
No,
gonna
no,
say,
you
like,
go.
certain other characters are probably more in tune with their new type senses and
Like
then kind of fade
Drago.
off. Someone like Bright,
Oh, yeah,
because
that I see.
I think Bright probably peaks at his new type awareness in, like, Zeta Double Zeta, but then in
Mhm.
Unicorn and Hathaway, he does seem to, he doesn't have that sense anymore, and I don't know how
Right.
much of it is because he moved back to Earth to be with Mirai. I don't know, like, there's something. I think Bright settling down and stepping away from conflict, direct conflict, really, like, diminished his new type senses because I feel like he would've said, "Hathaway, what are you doing? Like, don't become a terrorist.
Yeah,
What are you doing?"
and I wonder for each person, their new type muscle might be different, so the way they're using it. And it was funny because when you were speaking on this, it reminded me of, like, let's say new types are using Twitter, and they're like, "Ah, me and this girl I met didn't work out. Ah, it's being a new type. It's so hard. Our emotions are way more," like, there's that whole thing where people will go on victimizing, I guess, that they are a new type. But then you could
Yeah,
have someone that's a new type that's, like, freaking, like, flying around, or someone that's a new type that just can guess what's on the back of a card.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think that it's, it can be a parlor trick, or it can be
Yeah.
something a little bit more significant than that, or it can be something that maybe you don't even necessarily, um like, you think about a character like Shaliable, and outside of being able to control the Brow Bro, uh,
Yeah.
is there anything about Shaliable that really screams new type to you? Like, he doesn't seem like he has that same level of empathy with Amuro as Lala and Char do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Shalia Bull is a fascinating character because he is the textbook definition of what Xeon wanted new types to
Yeah.
be, is
Yeah, because
just
he's just
a
in
super
line
soldier.
with what needs to be done, not really questioning the morality of it, just, yeah.
Right. Whereas someone like Lala is more attuned to what a new type can be, and they tried to fit her into that mold of like, well, just go out there and be a super soldier.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, with the new type, the way, the difference between, like, Star Wars and the Jedi and new types in Gundam, I feel like, when it comes to taboo topics like sex, I think that is treated the same way the new type discussion is. Whereas in Star Wars, the discussion of the Force is almost like everyone's religion. Everyone's talking about, "Hey, I've got this," and they're willing to talk about it and trying to get you to understand, "No, this is the side. No, that's the side." But
Yeah,
with new
well, and
type stuff,
especially, like, in the Star Wars universe, it's like Abrahamic faiths, where it's like
yeah,
everyone believes in the same force, but they believe in different sides of it,
yeah,
and, they have their own theology around the force.
right. Which that I mean, I think that's an interesting thing to explore in Gundam, even though they've had future Gundam, but you would have to do one that maybe is 2 or 6,000 years if we want to account for what we know of humans developing cultural religion, like, it'd be neat if Gundam did that, in a certain way,
Yeah,
with the new type theory, you know?
that's something that, like and you and I were just talking before the show started about, like, conversations with LLMs and AI about, you know, esoteric topics, things like time travel and theology and, you know energy, things like that, and the supernatural. I think that that is one of the things that I'd probably, like, have a back and forth with, and I'd probably do this with both, like, Grok and, ChatGPT, maybe even throw Claude in there, although I'm really not a big fan of Claude for anything other than just writing.
Mm.
But, you know, we do know that, like, the Christian faith exists in Gundam, if only because of Merida, yeah, Merida taking why am I saying is it Merida? Merida Cruise.
Marie
I'm saying Merida like Brave, like the Disney movie. I
Oh,
this
well,
is
that
the curse of
makes
having
sense.
daughters under 10 years old.
Yeah,
Um, but Merida
totally makes
Cruise takes
yeah,
Benager to the church
that's right.
in Zeon territory. So what I really wanna get at is, like, what's the theological implication of the new type race? Does it
Ah,
you know, it
that's a really good one, I guess I think the furthest I've seen them kinda go with that is in Thunderbolt, the 2nd one, Bandit
with
Flower?
the
So
cult.
the Cult, yeah, which, that's not exactly what you're saying, but that's kind of an idea of that, is taking the new type thing and putting something around it. But, yes, for existing characters in Gundam that how are they at odds with this new type thing? That is I mean, it would be really neat to have some sort of pilot that is super religious, and he feels like new types are the devil.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, absolutely.
even if they are a Federation or Xeon or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see both perspectives, like,
Yeah.
what if there's the Xeon, pilot that thinks that the new types are the Antichrist, but then there's a Federation pilot that thinks that it's the second coming and that people are getting raptured. Um
Oh, so then what is your thought on if we take, like, the Starship Troopers universe, for example, how close is the Earth to the Federation, like you see citizens and Starship Troopers? Is it that fully into that type of military government, or is it still a little pull back?
That's a good question because you
Because
really
that
don't
could
see
account for the
civilians
religion.
in like, the Earth Federation in Gundam, right? Like, everyone is either affiliated with the military in some fashion, or at least they're, like, under Federation occupation.
Yeah, because I wonder, like, with Starship Troopers, how much is then maybe your pride for the Federation is then what drives that religious component, and instead of necessarily religion. Like, it could be where, right now, it's like sometimes, like, even in politics, we'll see where religion's still a big deal, or just still a big deal to say, like, stuff about God, to say God this, God that. But in the future, could it be not that that doesn't matter anymore, but, oh, that's your personal thing, but we're all in agreement that our country needs to defend itself, and we're all for the might of our federation, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that goes directly to what we were talking about last week when it came to, like, the dissolution of nationhood in the Earth Federation government, where it's like you
Oh,
don't have
yeah.
nations anymore, so, like, national holidays don't bear any significance
That's
anymore.
right.
Um, and so, yeah, when you kind of take away national identity, I almost feel like people would become more religiously zealotrous? They have more
Yeah.
religious zeal? Basically, what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, like, for every aspect of a person's identity that you take away from them, then they become more fanatical about the other aspects of their identity. So if you take away a person's nationality, you take away their religion, then they're going to become more fanatical about their race. Or if you take away the concept of race, then they're going to become nationalistic. So there's a lot of like that give and take. And so given that in the Gundam universe, we know that there are no nations, and we know that faith has like a diminished role in people's lives, maybe because of just the advancements in science and enhanced enlightenment, things like that. Like Are there racists in Gundam? Is that a thing? Like,
Well, the spacists, so you
the
it could be like,
spacists?
the Earthnoids versus space noids, but I wonder if between the Earthnoids and like, it's almost new type in space is synonymous, but I don't want it to be because I'm curious within that. Like, would more space noids be religious? Would more Earthnoids, you know,
I
vice
mean, I do
versa?
think that there is an aspect of spacism, like you said, is like because even in Zeta
Yeah.
Gundam, Buran is telling the AU pilots like, "Oh, space aliens go home." Um,
Yeah.
and even in the original Gundam, they talk about like having a Xeon accent, and it's like
Oh, yeah.
so
That's
there's an aspect of that.
yeah.
I think that those lines get more firmly drawn in the sand due to the, diminished importance of nationality.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting conversation, I tell you. Where else?
Exactly, where else but
Where
here?
else can you get this it's almost like if I was running into someone and it's like Castlevania, Alucard, oh, the son of oh, during that time period, and then got dive it's like, rarely can you get into this deep lore with certain subjects, you
Right,
know?
like, why is it gothic? Why do vampires always go with, like, a gothic appeal, you know? Is there something tied to that cathedral style of architecture and culture? But that's
I've actually thought about it, and I have an answer. That is actually the architecture and design from since they've lived for tens of thousands of years. It's
Oh, well,
just being
yeah.
carried on. Yeah.
Well, and in a lot of ways, like, everything about vampires is supposed to be a perversion of, like of Christian ideals, right? It's like, that's
Yeah.
the reason that well, traditionally, I know that, like, modern vampires typically are not affected by crucifixes and stuff like that, but,
Oh,
like,
right. But
wearing
yeah.
crosses upside down and, like, um, even just the idea that vampires have conquered death in the same way that Jesus conquered death,
Right.
right? It's like everything is like it's like a corruption of everything about, like
It is.
Catholicism. So there's a cool explanation to it of like why
And
vampires
because
both embrace like Catholic architecture, but then also
also
are
yeah.
repelled by it. Like,
Yeah, and what's interesting about that idea is that the religious component used against a vampire could be the vampires being a earlier hominid that, they talk about them biting to drink blood, but it could be they were just cannibals. And there's the idea that some, hominids, like, Neanderthals, were nocturnal, so they would sleep during the day and then come out at night. And we have those giant, granite boxes underneath the pyramids, there's tons of them. Where they're like these giant vampire hominids that coming out and eating humans. I don't know, that's a cool story idea.
no,
But
100 dude, like, honestly, even just, like, the story of David and Goliath might be
yeah,
tied into that because, like, the
yeah.
whole idea of, like, Nephilim and, like, giants, like you said, it's like and I think even word for word, like, Goliath threatened to eat Israel's soldiers, like,
Oh, okay,
which,
yeah, there
like,
you go,
he
the
might have
cannibalism
actually
thing.
been doing that, like,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
crazy
fascinating
stuff.
stuff.
See, look at
Yeah,
that, sometimes we even talk vampire lore, uh
I know, vampire lore.
But yeah, on a lighter note, there are some cool things going on in the world of Gundam gaming.
Oh,
Obviously, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of SDG Generation Genesis. This week, Hathaway has come to G Generation Eternal. Um,
yep,
it's only 4 stages, but they're 4 amazing stages. And I mean, it's a quick playthrough, but there's some cool stuff associated with it because there's always, you know how G Generation Eternal is really generous with all the extra giveaways and stuff. So like currently you can unlock um there's a special mode called like the Change Makers where you play through stages that are themed after like pivotal points in Universal Century history. So it's like the Battle of Baoku and
yeah,
I forget some of the other ones, but it goes through, like, all the way to fighting Amuro at Axis, and Amuro's, like, in the Rigazee, like, basically,
Oh,
you are so it's like you play as the bad guys in each scenario. So, like, in the Battle of Baoku, you're playing as Xeon instead of the Federation. Well, by
okay.
playing through all of these stages, and I think there's, like, 30 days left to do this, you can unlock a special version of the Hyakushiki and a special super secret rare version of Quattro Vagina. Um,
Ooh.
very, very cool because this version of Quattro gets 2 chance attacks, but only if he's piloting a unit from the Zeta Gundam universe with the Zeta Gundam
Oh,
tag, which I think is cool because it's not just the AUG tag. Like, there's some characters that get perks when they pilot specifically an AUG mobile suit. Him, it's any Zeta era mobile suit. So it could be the O, it
cool.
could be the Kubile, it could be the Psycho Gundam, which is I mean, if you can imagine the Psycho Gundam getting 2 shots per turn, that would be
Yeah,
Char
that's
Aznavour. Um, and the Hyakushiki's okay. It really is, like, almost identical to the other version of the Hyakushiki, it's just it has different weapon effects. So instead of doing more damage, it's more focused around support. So it'll, reduce defense and it reduces beam defense. So it's okay.
okay. Well,
So oh, go ahead.
oh, no, I was gonna say, I actually got the Kasai and the Penelope.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, from playing, like, through the development tree and everything?
No, just doing the spin, so I guess that means I could then
Oh,
use
you
that
got
to
the
upgrade.
ultra rare versions, the
Oh, are
EX
those
ones.
different than the development tree
They have a
ones?
Kasai and a
Oh.
Penelope in the development tree, but you got the
Yeah, the ultra rare. So, okay, because I thought maybe it would be the same that's in the development tree, and I can use that to upgrade, but you can't. They're different.
No, no,
Okay, well, that's,
unfortunately.
I guess, cool then, because I didn't know that that's what that meant. I thought that was just a way to, like, easily upgrade by having, the 2, but I guess well, that's cool. I spun 4 times, and the last 2 were the Penelope Kasai,
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
and that usually doesn't happen for me, so, yeah.
And they came with, ultra rare pilots as well, right? So you
Yeah.
got
Mhm.
Hathaway and,
And lane name.
Blaine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I was happy about
and
that.
then on top of that, like, what are some of the other things? So by playing through that change makers, you can get a special super secret rare supporter, which this was kind of dumb the way that they did it, but it basically is Gundam Hathaway, Sorcery of the Nymph Cersei. Like, there's no ship, it's just
Oh.
Hathaway and Gigi, and like,
Oh, okay.
but basically all units from well, actually, this part is cool. Is almost every other supporter in the game only applies to one unit type. So, like, say for instance, Ben Wooder from Zeta Gundam, he only boosts Zeta Gundam units. Um, Lady Un from Gundam Wing, she only boosts Gundam Wing units. Gear and Zabi only boosts large machines. So if you're running a team
Hmm.
of mobile armors, Gear and Zabi is the supporter to have.
Oh, okay.
What's interesting about Sorcery of the Nymph Cersei is that it's all units that either have the commander tag or are from Hathaway. And I think the reason they did that is because there aren't a lot of units from Hathaway. So
Oh,
by making it so that it's units with the commander tag too, it makes it a lot more versatile of a supporter. So
are there any good Zeta commander units?
I honestly don't know which ones have the commander tag on them,
Yeah.
but
Okay. I'm curious because those are the ones stuff from Zeta is mainly what I'm upgrading, that and double Zeta, so
100%. Yeah, I mean Zeta, like the Zeta units are kind of overpowered just on account of the fact that they can play in so many different scenarios.
that's cool.
Um, so yeah, you've got the Hathaway scenario is out. You've got the change makers, which gives you a ton of free units. The current fierce assault battle is with the Gundam Mark III full armor, which is kind of cool, which is a support unit. So you can totally max that out. And because it's a Zeta era unit, it pairs well with that new Char Aznable. So it's a nice little
There you go. That's cool.
yeah, man. A lot of exciting stuff. I mean, I'm glad that they are drip feeding so much content into G
Yeah.
Generation Eternal. Dude, I'm
Yeah,
so
'cause
stoked that you got both the Penelope and Kasai. That's
yeah,
awesome.
me too. I mean, I was like, "Man, those are suits I would love to have," and, like, those are suits I'd want in GBO too. I think they're both in GBO too, but,
Are
uh,
they both?
yeah, I don't
I
know,
know the
maybe.
Kasai is. I don't know if the Penelope was,
Okay, yeah, because
but I haven't played
it's
in a
just an
while.
example of I'd wanna jump in and be able to use them, but I
Yeah.
can't. Luckily, with Eternal, even though it's the same thing for some people, luckily I was able to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be, another third-person action style Gundam game that's not a gacha that, you know, people can just, like, log in and get the mobile suits that they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I
Well, that where it's good combat.
yeah, yeah, I mean
Not just like, anything, but yeah. Just yeah, because, I mean, just think of it like with GBO2, if it's when Hathaway comes out, then it's like, "Hey, guys, the Hathaway shoots are available. Oh, I'm gonna jump in and play GBO2 because now I can use the Hathaway shoots, the show's coming or the new movie's coming." Like, when I would do that, I would jump in, "Oh, I didn't get a suit. Okay, I guess I'm not playing GBO2." Yeah.
that's kinda how I feel a lot of the time. Um, and even with, like, something like, uh, Engage, which,
Oh,
every
yeah.
so often they come out with some pretty cool units in Engage. In fact, a couple weeks ago, the banner suit was the IF Claw Zeta, which
Oh, yeah.
and this was crazy, is I was like, I don't even play Engage, but, like, just the idea of having that Zeta is cool to me, like
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
that's pretty sweet. So I went online and looked to see if I could find, like, a place that I could download just the 3D model because I think it would be cool to 3D print the IF claw and, like, make a
Yeah.
custom Zeta Gunpla. Um, alas, no UC Engage 3D models available, at least that I could find, so I might have to rip that model myself. But I don't
You'd
know if
think
you get it if you don't have the mobile suit in your
unlocked.
copy of the game, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
downloaded. I feel like if they make some random add-on for a Zeta in a game, it should be a real thing that they, come out with eventually. It just
Dude,
that doesn't
make
make
2
sense to me.
Bandai kits
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
those.
exactly.
Come
Yeah, it just
on.
doesn't make sense to me. For all the things you could be doing in a game, why introduce something that is not part of a kit in a game that it's not really made for being a game. It's just made for advertising,
Right, it's
you
a
know?
free to play game, like yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But speaking of kits, I think it's
Oh,
time that I share with you guys, the pickups from this weekend. Let's see
cool.
here. So, obviously, I posted on Instagram earlier, I've taken my daughter over to, Hobbytown basically every year that she's been alive is like, and so, here she is walking in front of the RX-78 statue. She almost immediately after this photo went tumbling down over the Millennium Falcons that are stacked in front because she was just like going for the plushies. I was like, no, no,
Oh, that's
no,
funny.
no, no. But yeah, so, she went shopping and we ended up picking up the EX standard SD Sazabi, which is a pretty cool kit. It's only 12 bucks and she snapped it up together herself. Like,
Wow, look at that.
look at that, man. I
That's
was
really cool.
very proud. And it's only 3 is it even 3 runners? Like it's like 2.5 runners, I would call it.
Oh,
But it's got some really cool features, like and that's kinda one of the things that I wanna talk about tonight is because there's some fun stuff that we're gonna be able to do with it. We're gonna employ some tricks from some fellow Gunpla, creators. So,
oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, let me let me kill this, screen share here, and we are gonna fire up my desk cam. So here you go. This is the kit in question. like I said, it's got some pretty neat features to it. It's pretty bare bones. Obviously, we didn't put the stickers on it or anything because I knew that we were gonna be, playing with it and doing some fun stuff. It would benefit from a nice paint job, but here's
Okay.
what I think is really cool about it is, like, the weapons on it. You've got the beam sword,
Mhm.
you've got the beam rifle, and you've got the shield, and they can be combined in several different interesting ways. So, you saw that, like, earlier I had the shield mounted on the arm with you can have it hold the beam sword like that and, go full melee mode, or you can mount the sword onto the shield, like this. Then you can take the beam rifle and mount it like this, and you basically get like this little beam rifle sword
That's
thing.
I like that stuff
This stuff
'cause
is
it
so cool to
guarantees
me.
you can have everything connected on,
Yeah. And then you can even go so far as to combine the backpack with the sword and the shield. So you can do stuff like this.
like,
I don't
making
know.
its own little unit.
Yeah. Like, and I don't know why you would necessarily want to do this, but
Hey, for a kid that doesn't know what it's from, you know how that is with toys when you don't know what it's from, but you make up your own stuff?
yeah. And so it's interesting, like the beam rifle, the stock of the rifle fits right between the pegs that go into the mobile suit's back. So that's pretty cool. I think even if you look at the way that the peg holes are mounted on the back, you can even take something like this, which is obviously one of the cross silhouette units, and the way that these have their backpack mounts set up. Oh, took the torso off instead. Look at that.
Oh, that's neat.
Sazabi with a
Caliber
Calibarn
back.
backpack, Calibarn equipped with funnels.
Hmm.
Like, this is ultimate kit bash material.
So do you know, like, how many of these SDs sets are interchangeable like that?
Well, so there are a ton of the EX standard kits. There is at least the ones that I saw specifically at Hobbytown this past weekend. They had the Zazabi, they had the RX-78 II, they had the Rising Freedom, which I almost got the Rising Freedom, to be
Oh,
honest with you. They had the Destiny, which was pretty cool. What else?
unicorn?
I don't know if they had the Unicorn. They might have had the Banshee.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, this line seems pretty cool. It's very dumbed down, like, there's not a lot to it. The skirt is all one piece, so it's not, like,
Yeah.
super posable, but just the fact that all of the joints and everything, all of the hard points, so to speak, are so conveniently placed to that they're compatible with almost every other line of kit. In fact, in the instruction manual for the kit, they specifically say like, "Oh, you should combine this with your high grades," and it has a picture of like the
Oh,
RX-78 using this shield. So it's like, they almost encourage kit bashing with these kits.
it would be cool if there was some sort of matrix of these kits and what's compatible because that'd be a good way to decide, okay, what things should I buy and make of, you know? Um,
So what came across to me, like, and this only came to mind like this morning, is I thought, man, this is like kind of a cute little Zazabi shield. Compared to like do I where is my Zazabi? Oh man, my Zazabi's like way up here over on the Argama up
oh,
there. But compared to the high grade Zazabi shield, this thing is like a little, it's almost like a mini shield, it's like a buckler. You know what this reminds me of? Is over in my garage, I have the P Bandai Super Fumina, Titans Made version, um, model kit. So
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
Fumina from the Build Fighter series, but she's got, like, the tiny versions of the standard RX-78 shield, and so it got me thinking, like, "Man, what if I made a Super Fumina
Sazabi.
Xeon version, like Xeon made version, where I make
Yeah.
a couple of copies of this shield, and instead of having, like, the Thunderbolt style mini versions of the RX-78 shield, we have mini versions of this shield. We make a copy of the Sazabi's helmet, and so then we put this helmet on her head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
That
very
would be pretty
helmet-like.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I and even just the way that this, part is designed. Let's see if I can do it without breaking things apart here. Might have to employ the use of the old hobby
Oh, the
knife.
camera just went away.
Uh-oh. Wait, it did?
At least for me.
Oh. Uh-oh, I hope I'm not, bugging out. Let me know in the chat if you guys are not able to
I'm
see.
watching the stream too, hasn't gone away.
Okay, well, that's good.
Oh, I'm seeing it now. Okay, good.
I did have some issues earlier. I was like, "Uh-oh, CPU overload," and I haven't even started streaming yet.
Dude, I did too. Some USB ports again acting up. Oh my god, I hate USB. I now declare I hate USB.
And not just the A, not just the C. I hate all forms of USB. Um, no, and honestly, I do have my external hard drive plugged into the computer because I was running some, I won't get too cryptic, but I'm not gonna reveal to you
Oh,
guys what I was working on, that I had my external hard drive, set up, but
cool.
suffice to say, I was working on a project earlier today that involved having my external hard drive plugged in. But so if you remove the internals of the helmet, like, you can have just that set up to where, like, man, if you would just put that on, like, a G girl, Gundam girl head, like, that would be
Yeah, it fit.
pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, that is a good idea. I
So,
noticed these things are like little helmets.
yeah, little samurai designs. Now, there are some things that I don't like about the kit. Obviously, the backpack is only 2 parts. It's, like, just top and bottom, and as a result of that, the pipes on the back, like the, propellant tanks, are
Yeah.
hollow. Likewise with the funnel racks,
Hmm.
but they do have these, convenient little pegs in them. Everything is that 3 millimeter peg joint, so it's like you can attach anything to anything, which isn't that, like, the whole point of the 30-minute missions is that everything is, like,
Yeah,
3 millimeter pegs?
and I was almost, like, hoping that was the case when I first got into the high grades, and I would see how different high grades were, and I was like, "It would be neat if these were all compatible."
I know. It was kinda disappointing to learn that they weren't.
Yeah.
Um, but, yeah, I mean, I think that this is an awesome little guy. Uh like I said, that he definitely could use some detail up, but even just the amount of posability that he has is kind of impressive for an SD. The elbows actually bend, which is kind of convenient. The
Oh, yeah.
head is interesting because it's a little long, like, he has kind of a long neck, but I think that the reason that they did that is because of the height of the shoulders and the backpack. It kind of makes it so that this helmet kind of would bump up against everything if it were any lower. But I still
Yeah,
might
it's like
lower that just because it looks unnatural being that high
that
up.
high. Yeah, it's the problem with those samurai/Darth slash Darth Vader helmets on action figures. It's they would get caught in shoulder gear and stuff.
Yeah. You wonder how often, like, Darth Vader got, like, clocked on the side of the head and, um
Yeah,
so naturally, one of the things that I wanna do is load this thing with some LEDs, and the easy
heck
one is
yeah.
obviously gonna be the mono eye. Love doing mono eyes, you guys know this. But, I think we can do better. Like, I am thinking I want to put an LED in the high mega cannon in the chest. I think that would be pretty
Oh,
cool. I think that we should put some LEDs in the legs where the thrusters are.
yeah.
Um, Maybe in the sides. I don't know if these little side thrusters on the side skirt are large enough to fit LEDs in, but if we can, we will. I think it would be cool to put LEDs here in the shoulders where these little squares are, like those little
Yeah.
ports. Obviously, if we were to look at the backpack, we could put some LEDs here in the 3 thrusters on the bottom of the backpack. It might even be cool to put some where the funnels are, even though the funnels, you know, we're gonna paint those red anyway. I did, as part of the shopping trip, I picked up some new Vallejo model colors, so I went with this, golden yellow. I think that this is gonna be, like, the perfect
Oh,
like, this is like Gundam yellow, you know what I mean?
right, I know what you mean.
You're
Yep.
gonna use it for V-fins, you're gonna use it for, like, everything, like, this yellow you just have to have on hand.
And I
Um
feel like some high grades, it's too much of the yellow yellow. Like, it'll
Yeah,
accidentally do that, and
exactly.
then some won't.
It's,
Yeah.
like, too much of the lemon yellow.
Lemon, okay.
Yeah, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of painting that has to be done with this particular kit just to bring out some of those details. And so, as a result of all of these things, oh yeah, like these little ports back here, those might make for good LED spots.
Okay.
Maybe even the thrusters here on the back of the skirt. But to do all of these things, you know, traditionally what I used to do was I would make like a resin copy of the entire part. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm a little older, a little wiser, and having interviewed our good friend Pencil Knights,
Oh,
I've learned some new techniques. So, what we're going to do is we're going to employ one of his techniques in order to get our LEDs to function the way that we would like. So, off camera and earlier today, I should say, I made this guy. It's a little
oh,
silicone mold. It's actually Silinot, so it's like the remeltable, reusable stuff. Um, what Pencil Knights does when it comes to installing LEDs on parts is he will create a half silicone mold like this. He will so this is the chest, fits right back in there. I actually left the bottom open, which was kind of a dumb move, but doesn't matter. So he'll create a mold like this, then he'll take the part out, cut holes in the part where he wants to put LEDs, put the part back into the mold, take some UV resin, apply the UV resin where he wants to put his parts, and take his little UV flashlight and cure those resin parts. This is a really cool technique as far as, you know, where I would normally just take the entire part and make an entire clear part. He is specifically pinpointing, like, this is the only part that I need to be clear. So why should I make an entire part when I can just make this
I
little.
see.
So with this mold, it's almost perfect. But the problem is, I think if I can get it on camera, you might see that I caught a bubble when I did the
Huh.
initial cast. So I think that that might actually mess us up because if I put a hole in it now and then I cast it in resin, that bubble is going to be there. So we don't want to do that. um
Yeah. Although it doesn't seem that noticeable, but I guess it's just gonna be noticeable when you have the actual casted piece.
exactly.
Okay.
So I might have to recast this if we're going to do that if we're going to do that technique. So we might not do that this evening. Although what I did discover, um this right here is an older Oyumaru mold that I made of a heat sword. I don't know if you guys can see like the shape of the heat sword in it, but
Uh,
this is an interesting thing that I discovered because one of the things about UV resin is it doesn't it doesn't work with a mold like this if it's a two-part mold. So, like, for instance, here, let's show you guys something else. This is a casting that I did um, of the Leo. Here, I'll show you guys. It's the
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the old guy from Gundam Assemble. So this is
Yeah.
the casting of that. If I were to pour UV resin in here, it's never going to cure because light can't get in there, and I can't use the UV light to cure it. However, this guy right here, because it is clear Oyumaru, it actually allows enough light to pass through that you can cure UV resin. Oh, wait a second. Is this one even open? That is
There you go.
not even open. Where is my UV resin? Let me grab an open pot real quick, and then we are going to try and we'll see if this cures live. It might take a little longer, but we're gonna try it. Give me
Okay.
just a second.
For those paying attention, I am, working on starting the Gundam Nyan, and I'm also using this as an opportunity to learn how to build and talk better, because that is a hard thing to do.
It is a hard thing to do, absolutely. I did also grab the instruction manual from this SDEX standard
Ooh,
Sazabi, which,
nice
like I
quality.
said, it does show
Oh,
using
that's cool.
but man, when this kit is painted, it looks phenomenal, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So we are going to do that. Um, in the meantime, let's see if we can't cast ourselves a nice clear resin heat sword live on stream. We're just gonna pour a little
Alright.
resin in here, try to minimize bubbles as best as we can. Um, it's more science than art.
Is it? I guess so. I guess that happens. And sometimes science and art just doesn't, for some people, the neurons don't cross, like me.
Yes. Now this UV light actually has a little bit more power than this guy, but we're gonna try using both of them and try to cure a little bit of this on stream. Like I said, I don't know how well this is going to work live. Last time I did it, I gave it like a full 15-minute cure, but the idea is that this Oyumaru is clear enough that at least it might not be totally blocking the UV light, but it is like refracting and diffusing it, so it's like it still gets through to the resin.
That's pretty cool.
But what's exciting about that is that obviously that means you can use Oyumaru to make resin, UV resin
Yeah,
molds.
well, that's pretty neat. Yeah.
And in my
Hmm.
experience, um, the reason that that's exciting is that when it comes to clear resins, I find that UV resin is much more predictable and easier to work with than the two-part epoxy resins. Um, Typically when I've worked with those, it's like either I put too much hardener in it and it like doesn't cure fully, or I don't put enough hardener and it kind of comes out gummy. Um, so
Again, the science. Yeah,
exactly.
it's when you're just trying to create the art and the science deflates you. You're like, "Ah, messed it up."
Exactly, man. Um, but yeah, so ultimately what I will end up doing is once I get a solid cast of this chest piece, I will drill a hole straight down the middle, where the where the mega particle cannon, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, where that is, because I think it'd be cool to put a little yellow LED in there. Obviously, we'll do a green LED in the mono eye, even in this piece on the crown of the helmet. Like, that's a green, and
Oh, yeah.
you can see it on the painted version where it's got, like, a green light in the lens area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that on, I think, the Mobile Suit Ensemble.
But yeah, like I said, I'm a huge fan of this, EX standard line. I never would have picked it up, but I think I've become a bigger fan of SD kits in recent years, and,
Yeah,
you know and hey, my daughter built it for me, so if you don't
I
like it.
know that part. That it's cool that they have, that way to kinda get them in, into the hobby pretty young, because it's
Oh,
an easier to build kit and
that's the other thing about these that I need to point out, is that they are
okay.
touch gate, so, like the entry grades, you don't need nippers to take the parts off the
Oh,
runner. They pop right out.
that's cool.
So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had mentioned it in my review for the Xerius, but some of it feels like an entry grade. I feel like sometimes with these high grades, there's parts where it's like, well, that seems like an entry grade thing, where it's like a articulation is just 2 points stuck. I don't know how to explain it actually, but in the video, I kind of talk about it a little bit.
No, I mean, I get it, and, like, this kit came with a couple of polycaps. The way that the shoulders come together is basically the shoulder is all one piece like that, and there's a ball joint. It's a polycap ball joint. But then this is what's really interesting, is there's a polycap that goes in the forearm, and it basically kind of plugs into the bicep there. So, like, you might see, yeah, okay, you can see it
Interesting.
from the back. The polycap and the bicep are 2 different colors, which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
And then the top and bottom of the arm are 2 different colors. So, like, there definitely needs to be some paint here to
painting.
kind of, round it out and make it more consistent. Now, I don't know if this is gonna be enough, but we are coming up on time for the evening.
Okay.
So, let's see if I didn't just make a fool of myself. I swear it worked earlier. Okay, so not fully cured. It's still a little sticky, but
Oh,
I want you guys to see this, is, like, it was totally liquid, and now it is at
oh.
least partially formed.
Well, is that? Did you just ruin it by taking it out, or
I
can you
did,
still use
but,
it? Oh,
I just wanted to prove the
it's a
point that
science.
it started to take form.
Yeah.
And again, the whole reason that I'm even showcasing this is because I think that these are the types of things that can, you know, we talked about it before the stream started. I'm a big fan of democratizing access to hobbies and professions and things. So, like, any
Yeah.
types of tools or resources that allow more people to get into a hobby, I'm a fan of that, right? And so,
100%.
like, Oyumaru and Siliconate, because they are reusable mold materials, have always been near and dear to my heart because, you know, not everybody has, like, hundreds of dollars to throw away on silicone molds that may or may not be successful, like, they might fail, right? So, the
Yep.
idea that you have a reusable mold material, especially, like I mentioned with Pencil Knights, is, if he's only making a temporary cast because he's only using it for this one model kit, it's such a waste of silicone to do that for one use. So, like,
It
why
is.
not use a reusable material like this, where, you cast it once, you make your part, and then you're done, and you can reuse the material for another part, Whereas, you know, otherwise you're wasting silicone. And then you have to go buy more silicone. The
Adds
advantage of
up.
doing this is that then, this opens up a whole realm of possibilities to where if you have a black light that you can just turn, like, because it slows down the cure time so much, uh I would use, like, a steady black light, like, just, like, one that you just
Oh,
turn on. But
yeah.
if you make your mold using clear Oyumaru, which is, like, 15 bucks on Amazon, then you put it in front of a UV light, leave it overnight, who cares? And then you come back and you have a cured part, and then tomorrow you can melt the Oyumaru and cast another part. Like, it allows people to do more stuff. And
Yeah,
and
that is
that's what I'm
amazing.
all about.
And that's probably what, maybe a big chunk of people never really got into the molding because of that sort of upkeep, where, yeah, I could see, yeah, making a mold. Hey, has an air bubble in it? Okay, well, I'll just melt it down, make another one.
Exactly, like,
Yeah,
I screwed this one up, I'm just gonna cast it again and try a second time. That's it.
that is cool.
Um, and it is cool because with the Oyamar, or, well, the Silenot in particular, um, one of the things that I recommend people do is not necessarily just do, like, pour in style, especially if you're worried about capturing little details like this. Um, like, if I were gonna make a copy of this backpack, say, for instance, for my, uh, Xeon made Super Fumina, I would be worried about catching air bubbles in these undersides, right? So, what I would do is I would take the melted Silenot and put pieces of it in these parts
Oh,
before I
wow.
poured it in, so that then they're already filled in. And I've done that with other parts in the past. Like, for instance, I'm casting a part for a friend of mine who lost a piece to a IBO kit. So, like, um, Barbatos here. He lost the part that goes in the Barbatos's spine here. This is a very complex part to cast because it's got a lot of peg holes and indentations that if you were to just pour silicone, you might not catch all the details. So what I did specifically was I took little pieces of Silenot and, like, made sure to fill all those gaps so that when the piece was finished, it actually does fit in to the backpack of the Barbatos here. So
Wow.
I do
Very
need to
neat.
mail that out to him.
That's cool, though. That's cool.
But yeah, sorry we didn't get a whole lot more done with the Zazabi. Like I said, I was hoping that this mold was gonna be functional and we'd be able to do some UV casting for that. But, as with most things in my life, I make mistakes.
Hey, it happens, and we learn from them. That's right.
Exactly. If you don't learn from them, then they truly are mistakes. Otherwise, they're
Yeah.
just learning opportunities. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, go check out, Adam's video on the Xerius. Hopefully, I will have a new, fully edited video dropping here for you before Christmas. That'll be my Christmas present to you guys. In case you're
Ooh,
wondering, it is December 3rd. So, over on the 1st, I dropped the new Patreon update for supporters. You can go and download 3D models of Santa Claus and the Snowman from Gundam 0080, the
that's awesome.
inflatable balloons that Bernie Wiseman used to distract the Gundam Alex. They did make those vinyl versions a couple years ago, but they cost a fortune. So if you have a 3D printer,
Yeah.
it's much cheaper to just print yourself a snowman and a Santa if you really want to recreate those scenes from War in the Pocket.
Yeah.
So,
Good stuff.
uh, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Adam, as always, for the deep conversations about time
Yeah.
travel, space travel, and
Yeah. New type
interdimensional
philosophy.
beings.
Yeah,
New
there
type
you go.
philosophy. We hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and we will catch up with you tomorrow on the
Yep.
Gundam Explained show. You guys
See
have
ya.
a great night. Cheers.